I wasn't really at all surprised to see Ruger release the compact version of the Security 9, but it did take me by surprise a little bit. I wasn't expecting it. So I asked my favorite local gun store, could they get me one? They did. Here it is. I just picked it up, and so literally this is going to be straight from the counter to the range. First 100, Ruger Security 9 Compact. All right, I'm squeezing this first 100 in between thunderstorms today, so I'm going to be quick about it and get right on to business. This is the very first magazine of 10 rounds. The gun comes with two 10-round magazines. Both of the magazines initially have this flat base plate that you see on this one, although Ruger does provide this pinky extension. Let me give you some contrast there. This pinky extension magazine, which I went ahead and installed on one of the magazines so I can try both of them out today. I'm also going to use the 15-round magazine for the regular sized Security 9 just to give me more mags and to prove that it is compatible. And on that note, with the clouds getting darker and darker, let's get started. About 11 yards down range, I have a steel target. It is complements of tactical AR-500 targets. It is a miniature ADAP target. It is AR-550, and it is awesome. And it is painted a lovely shade of pink. Let's get started. First 100, Ruger Security 9 Compact. Pinky extension base plate on this magazine, and it does provide a little bit fuller grip, so a lot of you guys with the larger hands probably will appreciate that. Nice, very nice. Magazine release works very nicely, as you can see. Has a tiny little mag release button, as does the full size, but it does work really nice. Now let's test the slide release. No, it's failing miserably. I'm pushing hard. All right, let's try it with my opposing thumb. Nope. Nope, so big fat F for slide release. All right, I got 15 rounds now in this magazine, and you can see, before I get started, you can see that magazine sticks out the bottom. Okay, so I had one point where I didn't ride the trigger quite properly and got stuck between the reset and the dead trigger position. So other than that, she's running great, and we'll call that shooter error. Alright, so here are the key specs on the Ruger Security 9 Compact. The barrel length on this pistol is 3.42 inches, and the overall length of the gun is just 6.52 inches. The height is a very short 4.35 inches, making it great for potential concealed carry. The weight of the gun is 21.9 ounces with an empty magazine. It is a polymer frame pistol. I believe it is a glass-filled nylon type of polymer. Has a decent set of sights on it that are steel, and they are drift adjustable. but there are no adjustments. For example, the rear sight is not adjustable for windage or elevation. The action is hammer fired. I'm calling it a double action only. I don't know whether Ruger gives it that designation or not. The reason I say it's double action only is because when you pull the trigger, even when the gun is cocked, you can see the hammer still move slightly to the rear before it breaks and moves forward. And to me, that means double action. The finish of the gun is blued, and it is blued over an alloy steel that applies to both the slide and to the barrel. Holds 10 rounds in its standard magazines, comes with 2 of those. The thickness of the gun is just barely over an inch, making it also, in that respect, ideal for concealed carry. I measured the trigger reach at 2.655 inches, which gives us a Justin Opinion grip index of 3.08. MSRP is $379. I picked it up for just under $320, and so you can expect to see it somewhere in the neighborhood of anywhere from, say, $320 to $350 maybe. Shooting a mixed variety of ammo today, and I'm not necessarily going to tell you every single thing I'm shooting, but this is Fiocchi 124 grain, and it has a very interesting conical point to the front of it. Prior to that, I've been shooting Magtech 115 grain. So 115 grain, 124 grain, going to try a little bit of everything through it. I remember it's been just over a year since I first talked to you about the Security 9 when it was brand new. And I liked it. And this is basically just a smaller version. Slightly shorter barrel and slide. Obviously a shorter grip and reduced capacity. Configuration of everything else is pretty much identical. Same sights, same trigger feel, same tiny little mag release button that works very well, so I can't complain about that. Pistol does have a safety, so has a manual safety. The manual safety is a little stiff putting on, but it comes off a little easier than it goes on. The grip is definitely a whole lot shorter with the flat base plate magazine, and you'll have that pinky dangling or being tucked under, whichever you prefer when you're in that situation. But when you use this magazine with the extension, it does give you that full grip feel. Nice little gun, very nice little gun, and I thought and still think the Security 9 is a nice gun. Relatively inexpensive. I got out the door for around $320. MSRP I think is $379. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. So it is an affordable gun. If it is affordable and reliable, that's a very nice combination these days. And it's got a nice trigger. I like the way the trigger feels on this gun. It's really like a bigger version of the LCP, or the LC9. Here's a size comparison, the Ruger Security 9 full-sized at the top and the Ruger Security 9 compact underneath it. And you can see there is a significant difference in size in both length and height. I think the height is really the biggest difference, and that is what's going to make this gun a viable candidate for concealed carry. All the other dimensions are really the same, and the guns are virtually identical in every other way. But here's another view to give you an idea of the difference in size. You can see that reduced length, and you can't really see it too well from your angle here, but if I stand them up, you can see the difference in height. And there we go. Pretty significant, and that's probably, for me, the biggest difference between the two. So while the Security 9, the original Security 9 here, was a great, low-cost, and dependable alternative for people who might need a duty gun or home protection gun, I think the compact is going to provide those same exact characteristics for the concealed carry market. And yes, you still could concealed carry this one. There are probably guys out there, some of you right now may be concealed carrying the Security 9, but for me, that's a little bit on the large side. This one is much more ideally suited for concealed carry. And again, I hate to keep harping on it, but it's that height, because that's where you're going to print. So you've got that nice narrow 1-inch wide gun, and you've got that non-print friendly height. So in every other way, they are virtually identical. So as far as the shooting went, I found the gun harder to shoot with the flush mount magazine because the pinky dangles, and usually I'm not too bothered by that, but this one, I don't know, it kind of caught me in an awkward spot, so I had to either consciously wrap my pinky underneath or try and have it just barely hang on. So it's sort of an odd length for me, for my hand. So I shot it much better with this magazine in it, and with this magazine it felt much more comfortable to shoot. My perception was that I was actually shooting it better, but I think that's probably my perception only. I didn't see any evidence of that on the target. Safety lever on the compact is exactly like the safety lever on the full-sized gun. And if you didn't like it on the full-sized gun, you're not going to like it any better on this one. It's an okay safety. I'm not a big safety guy anyway, but you cannot really use the front of this lever, and you can see it's a very tiny little lever, but you can't use the front of it to engage the safety very well. It doesn't want to go up. You have to really push from the back, and that makes it a little awkward. You can't swipe the safety on with your thumb, or I can't anyway. I've got to turn the gun and push it up like this to get the safety on. Now the good news is, if the safety is engaged and you had to, say, draw the gun from a holster in an emergency situation, I do find that it does swipe off pretty well with my thumb. If I have to have it not working well in one direction or the other, I would prefer that it be the way it is. Harder to get on and easier to get off. So that's how that is. And when the safety's on, you have a locked trigger. You're unable to pull the trigger. Now let me slow down a little bit, see what I can do with a paper target and an orange dot, also at 11 yards downrange. And this is that same Fiocchi, 124 grain. Not too bad. Able to keep them, I think, mostly in the orange. And it occurred to me that the feel of the grip is so different between the two magazines that I probably should try both. So here's another 10 rounds of the Fiocchi, in the magazine with the extension. And I can see, now that my eyes are starting to clear up, I got at least 3 of them outside the orange. Let's see if we can do a little better, maybe with this grip extension on the magazine. How did I do? Can't tell for sure. Just for fun now, 15 rounds of Remington UMC 115 grain ball. It is it's an ammo that I use a lot, and I just sort of trust how I know it performs. So I should be able to print in good groups with Remington. And if I can't, well, then maybe I don't shoot this gun as well as I shoot some other guns. So same. Target Medic has repaired the target. It's definitely softer than that Fiocchi, I can tell you that. Uh-oh. And we have a malfunction. A stoppage in the fun. Now, is it an ejection extraction? Issue, or is a feeding issue? I'm not sure. Let's see if we can find out. So, drop the mag. And it was a feeding issue. So we have a live round that stopped on its way in to the chamber. Put it back in the magazine. Go back again. Now, couple things. So this is with here's what we know about that particular malfunction at this point in time, right here live as it's happening. That's Remington 115 grain ammo. If you think whether that makes a difference or not, it is a full metal jacket round nose. But I'm also using the 15 round magazine, and I've talked about this in a previous video. When you're using a long magazine in a short gun, in other words, one that's not made to sit flush at the base plate, even if you have a sleeve on that magazine, but especially if you don't, like in this case, your grip is putting pressure on that magazine and just ever so slightly changing the geometry of the magazine. You're maybe canting it one way or the other way, pulling it backwards or forwards and all that. All of that can have an effect on the angle that bullet is being stripped and fed into the gun. So, and I can even see on this bullet that I put back in here some abrasions. So I'm saying all that to say that it could very well be the fact that I'm using this magazine that's not intended to be used in this way in this gun, and I could have affected the feeding. So on we go. And I'll try to be careful not to do that. I'll try to be careful to keep a nice even grip on the pistol. I feel raindrops. Okay, made it the rest of the way through that mag, and the more I shot, the more convinced I was that I very likely induced that malfunction with my pinky putting pressure on that magazine. Looks like I might have done a little bit better with the Remington too. Alright, so what's my final word after 200 rounds in a first 100 session at the range with this gun? I went straight from picking it up at the counter to taking it to the range. It's a nice gun. Ruger's going to back it. You know they are, because they back all their products. I think it's well made. It's well designed. It is just a miniaturized version of the Security 9. It's a little less comfortable to shoot because of the grip size. You've got a little less real estate there to hold on to, and so that may bother some people more than others. I didn't really perceive that it was any more snappy, or, didn't really feel any more recoil. For whatever reason, I just don't shoot the Security 9s great. I shoot them okay. I don't shoot them bad, but I am not my best with the Ruger Security 9 in my hand, and that seemed to be the case with the larger one too. It's just not a gun I shoot real accurately, and I'm sure there are lots of people out there, a lot of you, who can probably outshoot me all day long with this gun. So it just may not fit my particular shooting style really well. But it has a very nice trigger, it has a good set of sights, and I like the grip angle, I like the texture for the most part. Now, you know me, so I'm probably going to get a Talon grip on this guy pretty soon. I will do some comparisons to other guns in the size and try to keep it to something at least in the ballpark price range, and I don't know, get a better idea how this one stacks up against the competition in the concealed carry market for a 10 round-ish 9mm. Okay, 200 rounds today. Not bad between rainstorms. The Ruger Security 9 compact 9mm, and it is essentially the exact same gun as the full-size Security 9 as we would expect it to be, just in a slightly smaller package. Again, a little bit shorter barrel and slide, and a significantly shorter height. I found that I enjoyed shooting it more with the pinky extension magazine base plate, which does come with the pistol. One of them comes with the pistol. I'm sure you can order more, and I probably will if I plan to shoot this gun much more. Had a couple of malfunctions that were curious. I'm not exactly sure yet what to make of them. I had a failure to feed. Round didn't go fully into the chamber. When I was using the long 15 round magazine that I borrowed from the full-size Security 9, and I suspected, and I still do suspect, that I could have been involved in that malfunction by squeezing too much on the magazine and changing the trajectory. So I won't discount shooter error or user error in that. However, I had a similar malfunction later on with the same ammo, coincidentally, the Remington UMC 115 grain ball, but using the regular 10 round magazines that come with the pistol. So the magazine may not be to blame. And in all fairness, it might be good to get a few hundred more rounds through this thing and really make sure it's all broken in good. The springs are broken in, and all the parts that are going to wear together are worn together, and so forth. So I will withhold judgment, but just so you know, there were those couple of feeding malfunctions. In every other way, this pistol ran fantastic. It ran great. It's fun to shoot. The sight picture is actually a good sight picture. It's not my favorite in the world, but it's a good sight picture. It's effective. It's not the most accurate pistol I shot, but neither is the full size. I don't produce the best groups with the Ruger Security 9, but I by far don't produce the worst groups either. So I would be confident if I were armed with this gun and had to defend myself. I would be confident in my ability to hit the target, or I would be confident in my ability to hit the target all other circumstances notwithstanding, but it wouldn't be, certainly I wouldn't have any lack of confidence in the pistol. So here's our first look at the Security 9 compact. I think it's a nice addition to the lineup. I think there is absolutely a need for affordable self-protection, and at somewhere between 300 and 350 bucks street price, I think this is a very nice option. And you know that Ruger is going to stand 100% behind it. So that's a big plus too. Probably some cool things to compare this to. So I think we'll probably see this gun again while I bring out some others that are in the same league. See how they stack up against each other. Thanks for watching, as always. And I want to give a big thanks, as always, to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the Just an Opinion channel, that's the best way to do it. Just go to Patreon and pledge your support.